Will this be a year of plentiful berries? As summer days shorten, the air cools. It is Nakalita. There are so many variables that determine a good berry year. No one knows for certain until the green berries show themselves and start to turn color in August. Berry picking must be done when the berries are ready. Dena'ina believe that if you do not use the berries given to you by the land, they will not return. Berries want to be picked. That's why they are bright red and blue. Years ago, people winnowed their berries on a hilltop in a good wind, letting the leaves blow away. Now, Helen uses a fan, or sometimes just goes for a fast boat ride. Dena'ina stored blueberries in birch baskets. Now, we use Ziploc bags. The freezer preserves them perfectly until they are ready for use. Our self-image as Dena'ina people is inseparable from the land and activities such as picking berries, fishing, and hunting. Any boat ride can turn into a hunting trip, so we are always prepared. Helen's grandson Danny thought he was going to the village to check for mail. On the way, this bear altered his plans. Helen shows him how to skin and butcher it. Since it was his first bear, Danny will follow tradition and give away all the meat without even eating one bite. Dena'ina people and all Alaska Native people have survived and thrived by becoming masters of adaptation. Of course, we have had intimate knowledge about our lakes, rivers, creeks, and mountains. That knowledge, combined with observation, intuition, creativity, and ingenuity, has made us highly successful in a country of extreme challenges. Helen knows how to scrape a skin with a tavach, but she also discovered the use of a wire brush on a cordless drill. Being Dena'ina means to make the most of whatever is available. One serious question we ask each year is, will we get a moose? Without a moose hanging in the smokehouse, our family will have an extremely difficult winter. Helen's son Wayne and her uncle Nick connected on this big one. Wayne has the strength, but Nick in his late 70s has the know-how. Here he shows Wayne and Brian how to use the second stomach as a container to hold the rest of the delicacies. No part of the moose is wasted. They share the meat from this moose and feel better about the coming winter. As days shorten and cold weather closes in, Helen digs wild parsnips. These have long been a staple for the Dena'ina and a valued trade item in centuries past. If she gathers them too soon, they will be bland. If she goes too late, the ground will be frozen solid. That evening, Helen washes, boils, and then fries them. For many people living in urban places in Alaska, winter can be a time of inactivity due to the cold. In Lime Village, winter is a time of freedom, because transportation is so much easier with the lakes, rivers, and tundra frozen. Helen loves to fish through the ice, and seldom misses a chance to try a new spot. When she catches pike or other fish with white meat, she returns home and makes nivagi, a delicious traditional ice cream. She boils the fish, squeezes the water out, and meticulously takes out the bones. Granddaughter Andrea helps. After carefully going through all the fish, they add moose tallow, then sugar, then raisins and berries. Chilled, the end product is creamy with no fishy taste. Ptarmigan usually stay in the mountains unless there is bad weather. The weather is good, and this ptarmigan is unexpected. She follows the tracks with her snow machine. In a very short time, she sees the bird. She lays it low with one shot. When mealtime comes, the results are delicious. All homes in Lime are heated by a wood stove. Over the course of a long winter, a household can burn 6 to 8 cords of wood. Rather than seeing that as a chore, it is an opportunity to get outdoors on a consistent basis. Here Wayne uses a plastic wedge to force the tree towards his trail. Old-timers used wedges made out of dry spruce branches. Splitting wood is only half brute strength. Knowing where to hit and how to hit mean an awful lot too. If a block is stubborn, a steel wedge is the ultimate persuader. Most people build a woodshed to protect their wood, but a woodpile anywhere in the yard feels like true wealth. Snaring beaver is a deeply rooted tradition among Dena'ina. She makes winter camp and teaches Brian how to camp out. The dim candle barely illuminates their tea and pilot bread snack before bed. Again, the past and present merge as traditional knowledge is passed from generation to generation. After making 2 holes, Helen adjusts and positions the beaver snares accurately. The rule on bait is, give them what they don't have. These beaver have many willows in their feed pile, so she puts birch for bait in one hole and poplar in the other. Her first 2 trips to check the snares produce nothing. She is considering using her secret bait, corn on the cob. But when Wayne and his boys checked the 3rd day, supper was in the snare. The boys drag the beaver to the sled and surprise Grandma with her catch. She skins and butchers it. Beaver meat is similar in texture to lamb. Wayne uses a homemade compass to mark the beaver stretcher, as beaver are stretched round. Helen wants to make a beaver hat for her daughter Elizabeth, who lives in Fairbanks. Winter travel can be dangerous. Ice forms when water is high. When water drops, the unsupported shell ice collapses in huge sections. The water may be shallow or very deep. Air holes open and close as weather changes. It is with a bit of sadness that Helen and her family watch the snow melt away. The liberty of winter is passing. Summertime means being limited once again to the waterways and mountain trails. The age-old questions return with the sun. Will the salmon return in sufficient numbers? Will the berries be plentiful this year? Will we get a moose to last us through the winter? Nakaltani, the Creator, knows the answer. All we can do is to be fully prepared. Even as her grandmother worried and hovered over her learning process, Helen now concerns herself with her own grandchildren. She thinks of the seasons, the dangers, the possibilities. She constantly tries to create learning experiences that will prepare her grandchildren for all possible outcomes. Will the elder's prophecy come true in her lifetime, or will it come after she is gone? Every year, she is thankful for another chance to deepen her family's knowledge. This is the essence of living Dena'ina, understanding, respecting, and adapting to the environment. In the Dena'ina language, we call this Ya'uch Ka Tzidalt'i. We live upon the outdoors.